it's me, Renee. I'm back. As you can see from the title, this is me recommending some books. So at the end of this month, towards the end of this month, the 24th of April to the 24th of May, there's the Eurovisionathon. I'll link the announcement video of that down below. I'm not a host of that, but I'm participating. And the point of Eurovisionathon is to choose, as you want, as many books from different, I'll explain that more later, different countries in Europe, or that participate in Eurovision, kind of their name really. Eurovision, in case you didn't know, is a big European music competition. Happens every year, except last year because of Corona. So and Eurovision, you had great hits like ABBA came from Eurovision, Alexander Rybak came from Eurovision, though I'm not sure how big Rybak is in the States or like outside of Europe. But if you heard of Eurovision, you probably heard of him. Conchita Bratwurst was in Eurovision, etc. Lots of good things. And yeah, Eurovision, it's a big party every year. Lots of colors, lots of different interesting songs. Some good, some weird ones. More often than not, lots of weird ones. And yeah, it's just a big, very fun party. Song competition and party, I suppose. Yeah. I've just heard about the Eurovisionathon, which, as I said, it's based on Eurovision, obviously. But it's not very strict in the rules. So the rules are either you pick offer from a European country or Australia. Australia is also participating because they kind of wanted to, and they're so in love with Eurovision. They watched it for many years, and now they participate as well for the last few years. But yeah, so European countries as well as Australia. So if an offer is from any of those countries, also if a book is by a American author, but the book is set in a European country, even if it's just like one chapter is in that country, that also counts. Also, non-fiction books from about different countries counts, so you don't have to read fiction. So yeah, so it's kind of in a way, first think like, oh, books from around Europe, is that a bit difficult? But then when you find out it's not that strict, it's kind of easier. But then again, yeah, of course, every country in the world has offers, I'm gonna assume. And most of them are translated to English. Some of them are at least some countries, most countries have translations to English. So yeah, so they kind of, I suppose, the trick is to find books that interest you. And yeah, in connection to this, I decided to recommend some books that I really enjoy that, yeah, take place around Europe, and of course some Australian authors as well. I just remembered, I forgot one book. I'm too lazy, I'm just going to talk about it. And yeah, let's get to the books. And also, yeah, I do know that the Eurovisionathon is not starting until 24th of April, but I'm making this video now and posting it now in case like you want to participate, but you kind of need time to find a book, or maybe you find lots of books in this video that you're interested in, but you have to get a hold of the book, and the book is at the other part of the world, like shipping and stuff. So like, why not do the video now? And I haven't decided, or I haven't filmed, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna make a video on the songs from this year that are on Eurovision. That will become fun. Maybe pick some books that might fit for them. Maybe we'll do that. And yeah, let's do that. I'm gonna do that. And yeah, let's start. First, we have I Will Marry George Clooney by Christmas by Tracy Bloom. So the author of this one is from England, but the book is set, I think it's maybe half of it. Anyway, a big chunk of it. Some scenes. It's been a while since I read it. But yeah, some scenes are set in Italy. Italy being in Europe and also participating. This one fits very well. This is an adult. I wouldn't say it's adult romance because it's romance, but it's not. Maybe it's adult chick lit. Adult feel good. Okay, I'm gonna say it's an adult feel good story because it's kind of like difficult to place this book. I would say adult comedy book. Yeah. Anyway, so it's about this 36-year-old woman, Michelle. She's kind of finding herself at a crossroads. Her daughter is kind of about to make a big mistake. So I'm like, okay, I need a husband. And so she kind of wants to like to show her daughter that you can do anything. So she's gonna try to get George Clooney to marry her. And of course, shenanigans happen. But there's also some of course sadness. It's not just all smiles and rainbows and butterflies. It's also compromise. But yeah, definitely a book I would want to check out. Yeah, I suppose you might kind of think it's kind of Christmassy because of the Christmas decorations by Christmas. But it's not like you have to read it in Christmas. You can read it whenever. It's not that Christmas themed. I mean, it's set partly in Italy, and is Italy that Christmassy? I suppose it depends how you define Christmas. Anyway, yeah, this book, check it out. Then we have a book set, yeah, so let's start. Yeah, it's set in France, Paris, or Paris, but it's not by French author, but yeah. Oh, actually, we do have also a book by French author. Though for life, I'm not quite sure where it is, but I do know I have it somewhere. I'll link that down below. But yeah, first I'm going to talk about this one, Starry Night by J.C. Whitney. It is standalone magic realism. It takes place in a museum, art museum in Paris, Paris, and the art comes to life. So that's quite magical and nice. You kind of think like maybe it sounds like so Disney Channel-ish. I suppose maybe a bit, but I would say it's a bit like it's about very much about appreciating yourself and appreciating art, appreciating beauty, and yeah, it's a very, very good book. I read it twice now, and both times I cried because it's just so emotional. It touched me so much, and yeah, definitely recommend it. And it goes around Paris a bit, and yeah, definitely recommend it. And then we have Love a la Mode. Also, I'm just gonna check because I'm an idiot, but I'm just gonna blah 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 blah. Yeah, also set in Paris. This is contemporary YA. No magical in this one, but still, well, it's magic love. And this takes place in a cooking high school, and it's people from all over the world who come to this high school. It takes place during more or less 6 months. Yeah, 6 months time, and it's about it's a dual point of view, Henry and Rosie. Henry is Korean American, and Rosie is Caucasian American. And Rosie loves to bake, Henry loves to cook, and yeah, it's about like their journey to finding love with each other, and also a journey with their family, like them being over in Paris and discovering Paris, and yeah, it's a fluffy, nice little book that's good if you want to read a book like that. Yeah. And then I'm just gonna mention, as I said, there's another book that I just remembered that's also actually set in, yeah, it's likely set in Paris, and it also has a French author. So, well, it's actually dual authored. So one of the authors is C.J. Doherty, and the other one is Katerina Rosenkrantz. Sorry, I can't for the life of me remember the author. You know what? I'm gonna Google it. Give a moment. Computer was weird, raggedy, but yeah, I'm back. But yeah, the name of the author is Karina. Wasn't that far off? Not Karina, but Katerina, but Karina. Karina Rosenfeld. She's French. And so Karina Rosenfeld has written with C.J. Doherty duology of magical I'm not gonna say magical realism. It's urban fantasy because it's set in our world, but there's also secret societies and stuff. And it's those books are called Second Fire and the Secret. Sorry, I can't remember the name of the last one. But yeah, one of them, the Secret Fire. It's the first one, and that one is amazing, amazing duology. It's been talked about way too seldom in booktube circles. So why duology? But yeah, definitely recommend it highly. Check it out. Told from two point of view. One is a boy who's been told he's going to die at his 17th birthday, and one is a girl who's kind of more normal, but supposedly she's not. And shenanigans, or not shenanigans, prophecies and scariness and villains happen. So yeah, that one is also very good. So I'm gonna link that down below. Then we have a Norwegian one. I'm quirky, so I'm just gonna first talk about one Norwegian and then some other books because I don't want to do them all at the same time. Because no, is it because I'm quirky or because I'm lazy? Because I'm lazy and have no organization. But yeah, so this is the chameleon people. It's Norwegian cover, but this series is translated to English. Well, most of it, not all of it yet, but sometimes it takes time. The author is Hans Olav Lahlum. He started actually writing historical non-fiction, but that 10 years ago he started writing fiction. Well, crime fiction. And yeah, so this is the third or fourth in the series. And as with most crime stories, well, for adults, this isn't crime stories for adults. You don't have to read them in order, but the detective is the same one, and then his personal life develops. So if you don't want to be spoiled with his personal life, start with the beginning. And the beginning is, let me just check it out, what the first book is called. Kinda curious about what that was called again. It doesn't say. Okay, yeah, I'm just gonna talk about the book, the series. So with this series, I'm gonna say think, and this is a bit weird to say it, but think Agatha Christie, but more recent, because all of these books are set in past. They're set in the first series, couple of books set in 1960s, and then the later ones 1970s. But the author said he doesn't really want to, he very much loves to, have books that's in the past, but, you don't really have mobile phones, you don't really have the fast life that we have today. So I think probably won't, I'm thinking he probably will stop the series when you get, smartphones or, when you get cell phones, so we probably stop it at 1990 or 1980 sometime. But yeah, as of right now, it's not stopped. At the moment, there's 10 books, 12 books. Anyway, sorry. Anyway, so yeah, I think Agatha Christie, both because it's set in past, but also because a lot of the time there's locked room mysteries. There's mysteries where everyone has an alibi, and of course someone has to be responsible, or it's a mystery where lots of people involved aren't who they say they are. And yeah, there's lots of stuff like that. And also often there's also some person from the suspect circle is from the upper crust of society, rich people. So you often have that kind of stuff. And yeah, it's just delightful. I love it so much. Yeah, I would say that the main detective, policeman, well, it's policeman. He can be kind of stupid now and then, but I suppose still the mystery is good, so you don't really care that much. At least I don't really. And yeah, and he also almost never really solves anything by himself. He has a help from a friend outside the police, so that's kind of on the fence there. But yeah, it's a great series. So if you're looking for something like a Christie-ish, I would say definitely check this one out. He's great. I love his books so much. Though, just kind of a little warning, I've listened to some of the audiobooks with my parents, and in some of the books there's sex scenes, so just don't do that. Me, don't do that. And yeah, I'll tell you how many books are in English at the moment, like in the Dublu, because you should know that. Like, it's good to know. And yeah, Norwegian recommendation. Then we have. Can you guess? Can you guess? I suppose you might. Skellige Peasant. So in this one, so the first book is set more or less only in Dublin, or like around Dublin and in Ireland. But it's a long series, so during the series they travel around. They go to parallel universes. They go to the past. They go to the future. I don't think they go to the future, but they go to the States. They go to Australia. They go to lots of different places. But yeah, but it definitely like works. So this series, I mean, like most of these books takes place in different places. So if you want to start it, if you want to pick up book 2 instead of book 1, then go with that. But yeah, the author is from Ireland, and as I said, so this could work. Just take one of the books and you can check off Ireland, or you can take one of the other books and check off London, well, England, or I suppose the US, but that's not part of Eurovision. But yeah, one of the books is set in Europe. I'm sorry, Europe, Australia, and then it's probably also set in Scotland. Might be, or as I said, it takes place in a lot of different places in the world. So yeah, this book just anytime I can talk about I will. I will. Though I plan to start the reread in February. Hasn't happened yet. Yeah, I'm still, but that's a good time. Yeah. So Skellige Pleasant, amazing series. Check it out, people. Check it out. We have another Norwegian. So this is a Norwegian author, but it's a fantasy series, so it's not set in modern day Norway. But I mean, you can choose Norwegian author, so that's not really, it doesn't disqualify you. But like, if you want to use this readathon as a way to learn about different places and have read stuff that's set in modern or modern-ish times, don't do this book. But it's a great series. Also, I'm kind of weird here because I'm showing you the third book, but I'm going to talk on the first book. But yeah, so this is the third book in the series Raven Rings. The first one was just published in English in the last part of March. It's out in Barnes & Noble and on Amazon and other places, pretty sure. I'm not sure if it's out in England, but I do know it's out in the US in different bookstores online and in bookstores. And yeah, so this is a high fantasy. Well, sorry, I would say more. Yeah, it's actually more of middle fantasy because in the first book it takes place solely in a different world. In the second book, the characters go to our world. They both go to Norway and Paris and England. Yeah, I think also go to England. And then in the third book, this one they go to another world. So yeah, I suppose it's probably more middle fantasy because there's parallel worlds. I mean, high fantasy, it's set solely in a different world, isn't it? Anyway, so yeah, this series, I'm just going to talk about the series in general, or the first book. Protagonist is Hirka. Also, yeah, it's kind of based slightly on Nordic mythology, so that's kind of like, I suppose you might get hints of that from the covers and stuff. But yeah, so the protagonist on this one is Hirka. She's in the beginning of the first book. She's 16. Her dad is elderly and growing old, and she's also always been an outsider. She's never really had any friends really in her and she lives in a small town like in the middle of nowhere, and she's never really had any friends because she has no tail. Because everyone else in her world has a tail, she doesn't. and because of that, she's kind of ostracized. And then, like right at the beginning, she discovers that it's not that she once had a tail and the tail was taken from her by a monster because there's monsters in this world. No, she's never had a tail. Her dad found her by like these ruins. So her dad is an adopted dad. It's not her. It's not a real dad. And yeah, she's never had a tail. So like when we get it's like, oh God, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? And then very soon her dad dies from old age. It's been a while since I read the first book, sorry. But yeah, anyway, her dad dies and she decides to go to a big city to get kind of get a new life and kind of get some answers to who she might be, who her real family is. And then things happen. Then you might ask yourself, well, what does this remind you of? I would say in a way, not a lot, because one of the things I love about this one is, at least in my mind, it's so unique. It's slightly Norse mythology in the way that it's set kind of in like a Viking-inspired-ish world. It's kind of, you get those inspiration. It's also, I would say, this might be just me being silly, but I feel like it's slightly Grisha-ish because there's like politics involved and there's like lots of different characters and lots of conspiracies and stuff like that. So Grisha is like from Libadua, maybe, like slightly. Yeah. Anyway, so as I said, the first book just came out in English in March. The second book is coming out in English in the fall, and this one comes out next year, pretty sure. And yeah, so it's definitely out. And if you talking to people from around the world, you might probably have already heard about the series because it's been talked about for quite some time. It's already translated to French, Italian, Spanish, Russian, Israeli, Hebrew, like tons of languages. So I actually think like English was one of the last languages like it came out in like last, but like it's been out for many years in other languages. This third book came out in 2015 in Norway. So yeah, it's been a while since this series was ended, though there's a spin-off series that started. But yeah, so you might have heard of this slightly if you're into like the international fantasy environments. But yeah, definitely check out this book series. It's so good, so good. A Danish author, and this is also a fantasy book. It's a high fantasy. It's set purely in a different world. It's a middle grade, but I would say it's one of those amazing middle grades you don't need to be 9, 10, 11 to enjoy it. You can perfectly be 30 and 40 and enjoy it as well. And yeah, it's by a Danish author. It is Shameless daughter, or this one is Norwegian version, Skammerens daughter. So I talked about this one before, but yeah, it's just so good. So the Julio is in this one. The protagonist is called Dina. So both Dina and her mom, when they look into people's eyes, they can see everything that you're ashamed of. So it's not like they can see. It's not like all normal telepathy where they can hear all your thoughts. No, they can see look into your eyes, and then they kind of hear their thoughts related to everything you're ashamed of. So like if you're ashamed or you didn't clean your house or you had a secret or like and like both the small things and all of the big things. So of course they're used in as a jury, like in trials and stuff, but also because of their ability, they're kind of ostracized, and yeah, people don't really like them. People avoid them, so that's not really cool. In the first book, her mom, Dina's mom, gets kind of involved in a big trial in a big city, and she gets kidnapped, and stuff happens. There's also dragons in this series, and yeah, very good. Also, there's 2 movies out of this book series, so check those out. And yeah, this is a 4-book series, and at the moment, it doesn't really have a spin-off. It's just that 4-book series, but so good. And as I said, it's a middle grade, so it's fast read. So if you want a fast but amazing middle grade, check this one out. We have Scottish, Scotland. Next country is Scotland, and that will be More Weird Things Customers Say in Bookshop by Jem Campbell. So Jem Campbell used to work in a bookstore. She wrote the first book, Weird Things Customers Say in bookshops, and then she wrote this one. So it's partly inspired by her own experiences, but she also got like lots of emails from people around the world. So it's also from bookstores in US, in Australia, New Zealand, etc., etc., etc. So I suppose you can choose this one for lots of countries, not just Scotland. But like the bookstore that Jen Campbell used to work in was in Scotland. So yeah, and also short book, delightful, fun, small anecdotes and with fun pictures as well, and dialogue, and yeah, just so good. You've already heard of it, but if you haven't, check it out. And we have Pride by Tim Tate, also with LGSM. So this, as you probably might guess, it's kind of based around like it came out. This movie came out like 8 years ago. Yeah, I think about 18 years ago. Something like I think it was 2014. I think it was around that this movie came out. You see the movie poster, movie cast. But yeah, so in the 1980s, there was a big strike with the miners. Silly names, words. But yeah, with the miners in Wales, and there was like a big ongoing strike. And for at one point, it kind of didn't really have that much food. Stuff was really difficult. And what happened is that actually there was a group of gay people, well, gay lesbians in London, decided to kind of, okay, you know what, we want to raise money and give that money to those miners. And then because of that, this kind of solidarity and this friendship flourished between those two communities. And yeah, it's just a lovely, lovely story. And I will say also, like the book introduced the people from the story. Most of them are still alive. And yeah, but I would say like this is also kind of one of those. It's a non-fiction book because of the book was based on book and movie. It's based on real life. Well, yeah. And I would say both the movie and the book highly recommended. It's not really one of those places where you kind of have to read either or, because I would say like the book kind of elaborates on the movie and kind of takes on different aspects really. And yeah, very, very good. Definitely check it out. So this one will go for Wales. Now I'm thinking maybe Tim Tate is England, so in English, so it could go for either Wales or England. But yeah, those two. Then we have sorry. Then we're starting with some. We're starting with Australian authors. First, we have John Martian, Tomorrow When the War Began. This kind of actually old series now, but this is the first new series. It's a story set in modern day, more or less modern day. I think it's kind of like set in like 2010s. People have cell phones and stuff. There's this group of teenagers. They go camping, but I think they don't bring their phones. I think anyway, like they don't really have contact with outside world. And then yeah, a few days after they come back, and like what? Everything's wrong. And then suddenly a big war has started. And then, okay, stuff is going down. They have to kind of survive and stuff. So I suppose it's kind of like war-ish and dystopian-ish, just as in our time, in our world. So it's kind of harrowing in a way and raw, but still good. And it doesn't end awfully. It's first in series, so you have some hope from the rest of the books and stuff. And yeah, we'll see. Check this one out. And of course, we have Not the same book I talked about earlier. For some reason, I can't find that one. But we have The Dark by Marion Curley. Yeah, my favorite author. I love this series so much. This is the second book in the Guardians of Time series. Now a quartet. She's actually writing her fifth book in the series, so soon a quintet. And yeah, this series, multiple point of view, time travel, magic abilities, family stuff, and friendship stuff, and prophecies, and I just love it so much. People need to check it out. Yesterday, they really do. And then we have Kikuyu by Holly Smale, which actually a little scene on this one, or a few scenes takes place in Russia. So yeah, and this is just a delightful, amazing first book in a series. Though you can read it standalone, like it's kind of very much completed in a way. Like the main crossover story is ended, so you don't need to read the whole series if you kind of just want to read one book. You can read it as a standalone, and yeah, just an amazing book about a girl who is very intelligent, but not that confident. And often in YA books, you have people who are confident and sassy and they know everything about like people and they can flirt and stuff like that. Harriet, she can't flirt, but she knows her facts and she knows stuff and she has a great heart. And yeah, I would say like Alyssa from Alyssa Eli. Harriet, she's not on page autistic, but she has autistic elements to her. So if you want to read a book that's slightly mm, autistic balanced, check this book out. Very good book. Lastly, we have The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzie Lee. This is probably, I think, like a lot of the other books you might not have heard of. This is a bit more known. Anyway, so this book, I mean, if in case you didn't know, they go like on a European trip around Europe. Like they start in England and they go to France, they go to Spain, they go to Italy, they go around Europe. So there's lots of places you can actually choose in this one. I'm pretty sure also actually they go to Hungary, so you can probably use that one for that. So yeah, it's just a very fun read. Though I would say like I don't love it, but it's very fun and joyful and delightful. But yeah, this book takes place in a lot of places, and I would say check it out. And that's, my dear friend, some recommendations from me to you. Oh, but that's that. I actually have one more. Actually, I'm double check my notes. Blah 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 blah. I forgot to. Yeah, I just forgot to. So I'm not that far off. But yeah. There's also, well, for Russia, you also have Blood Promise by, I'm going to do a few more. You also have Blood Promise by Michelle Mead, fourth in the Vampire Academy series. She goes both for Siberia and Russia. Siberia isn't its own real thing. Well, it's not in Eurovision. Russia is, so you can use that one. And there's also from Sweden. You also have. I don't really think I talked about Sweden. No, I didn't. But yeah, you have Joel-Gustafsson series by Henning Mankell. Henning Mankell is mostly known for his Kurt Wallander series, his crime adult series. He also has some children series, among them Joel-Gustafsson. It's a very interesting read. I read maybe 20 years ago now. It wasn't 15 years ago. Yeah, I very much enjoyed it. It is out in English, but it came out like later in Norway because translations and business. But yeah, I would say it's more like a John Greenish thing. Like if you want to ponder and think, it's not completely sad and downy, but it's more like a thoughtful series than a humorous or action-filled series. But it is interesting, definitely is. And then also Belgium. If you want to do Belgium, at least I'm deciding I'm gonna do Tintin or Asterix and Obelix. Both of those are comics. I very much enjoyed them when I was a kid, and I kind of think I'm gonna do one of those myself. And yeah, both of those are written by Belgians, two different Belgian writers, but yeah, so you can go with those. And yeah, that, my friends, are my Eurovisionathon recommendations, or in other words, recommendations from around Europe and Australia. If you have any thoughts, any books you want to talk about that seems like one of those I talk about, or anything, please tell me down below and in the comments. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.